I almost quit trading, but one verse reframed everything for me. And I'm going to talk about it in this video. So guys, listen, as a believer and a trader, it is so astonishing to see how much the Bible aligns to trading. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So first and foremost, y'all, you have to clearly define your why. Why are you actually doing this? Why do you actually want to trade? Obviously, there's a monetary benefit, right? For me, my why was that one, I was drowning in debt. I was drowning in student loan, credit card debt, and I had a son and quickly realized that my one income was too close to none. So my why was the fact that I had all this debt and had another mouth to feed and didn't know where the money was going to come from to actually give my son what I know he deserved. Case in point, now trading came into play. So now as a believer, y'all, we have to use that book as our playbook, okay? So one of the verses that really defined it for myself and my household was Proverbs 21:5. That says, "The plan of the diligent leads to success, but surely haste leads to poverty." So that clearly lets you know that if you plan for success. Another one of my favorite verses are Habakkuk 2:2, right? Where it says, "Write the vision and make it plain." So listen, my friends, this is something that my husband and I did when we started out our trading. Obviously, we wanted to get out of our 9 to 5. I was a former elementary school teacher. My husband, he worked outside in South Florida hot heat. So obviously our plan was to make sure that he got out of his job first. But when we sat down and looked at the numbers, y'all, my wonderful teacher salary was so minuscule that it was easier to replace my income versus his first. So we planned that, guys. We didn't say trade, leave, right? We had an order, right? God is he's a God of order. He's not a God of chaos. One step before the other. So I was able to, once I had my trading success, my husband had his trading success and we started building our account, I was able to leave work. And then shortly after, continuing with our growth, right? Then my husband was able to leave. So I wanted y'all to understand that the Bible clearly said, do not haste, because that would lead you to what? Poverty. So this leads me to my next point, y'all. The fact of the matter is that the best part, obviously trading, we make money, right? We're here to able to trade together. But y'all, I want y'all to understand that my choice, right? Mine and my husband's choice to plan our exit or plan our trading journey has not only affected our family's household directly, right? We were able to gift our in-laws a wedding anniversary stay at a 5-star all-inclusive resort, right? We're able to bring our son all across the country, all across the world with us. But the best part, y'all, is I am able, because of the choice that I made, to help impact lives across the internet, across the world that I have never met, because of the simple fact that I made a plan not only with my husband but with God when it came to trading. So the success stories keep coming in day in and day out because of the simple fact that I made a choice. So I want to say to you that whatever you're doing and that conviction you have, that this trading has been pulling you from time and time again, it's because it's not only tied to you directly, but there's other people that are associated with that you can bless, that you can show the way. So guys, I want you to understand, keep going. There's not only tied to you, there's other people that are going to be getting a rebound blessing off of your blessing of trading, okay? Let's go on to the next verse. This verse is super duper cool because it's like it ties directly into trading. Luke 14:28 says to sit down and actually estimate, actually lay out the cost. I'm paraphrasing. But what that means, my friends, it literally popped into my head as a trader. Risk to reward ratio, right? We need to calculate the risk of that said move, of that said trade. You should go into a trade understanding what you're risking in order to get this reward, right? And that ties directly back into the first verse, right? You have a plan. Trading is not by accident. Nothing our God does is by accident. Nothing he does is by coincidence. Nothing he does is disorderly or chaotic, right? So if you're trading with chaos and you're a believer, you're not in alignment. And that is maybe one of the main reasons why you're not getting to the profitability that you want. Like I said, alignment is understanding that your purpose is bigger than just making money, and understanding that you have to have a simple strategy that you're going to use day in and day out. So you're not going into the market confused. You're not going into the market anxious and scared, right? You understand what you're doing and you take these trades, calculated risk, okay? Which leads me to my final and most favorite verse of them all, Philippians 4:6. Be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing. And I love this. Use this all throughout the day, y'all. Not only when it comes to trading, where we don't need to be anxious because of the fact that we know who is in charge. You know, the Bible says that he knew us before the earth was ever formed. So whatever that thing is that's making you uncomfortable, whatever that thing is making you feel anxious or be afraid, remember Philippians 4:6, be anxious for nothing, right? Hey, you know your setup. Take your setup. Follow your strategy. Take profit or stop loss, my friends. As a trader, we should have a simple strategy to follow, and especially if you are a believer. And along with being anxious for nothing, my favorite thing we talk about every day in the group is having patience, right? And that is literally the opposite of being anxious, is having patience. When you exercise patience, there's no need. You do not feel anxious because you're patiently waiting for your setup. You're patiently waiting to take the trade, right? And if the setup isn't there, you have another day to trade. Okay, my friends? So I hope this was helpful. I hope as a believer, you understand that you have the control, you have a playbook, you have all these things and to help you in your trading journey. Understand they do align. They 100% do align. If it was made here on this earth, it was made by our King, and it was made for us to use as a resource to generate income, to do what? Send back into the kingdom. Okay, my friends? So I hope this was helpful. And if you ever want to actually trade with us live, and we actually do have Bible study in the group too, you know what I'm saying? And you could do that for free. So just comment the word free down below. Or if you want to actually learn the strategy, learn a simple strategy that you can trade day in and day out, and actually learn how to actually trade, all you have to do is comment the word trade down below or simply click the link in my description box down below. All right, I hope you have a blessed day, a blessed week, a blessed month, and if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up on this video. All right, I'll see you on the next one.